Welcome to Calling All Geeks, and thanks for answering the call. I'm Flynn, and joining me as always, my good buddy Chris.
Hey, it's me, Chris. Hi, it's me. Hello. What's up, man?
It's you. It's definitely you.
Yep.
So, hey, before we get started on this show today, I've heard you have some new additions to DC Comics that's going on. It's going to change the landscape of the company going forward. You want to talk a little about that?
I would like to. The landscape has been completely redefined from the ground up. We're using a new type of concrete. Actually, no. We just developed our website. I don't think he's quite done with it yet. It's getting close. Like, he's uploaded, like, he works on it and he posts it and then he works on it some more. Like, hopefully soon, I say soon, it's still a long process, but people or customers will be able to, I guess a little bit of context for those who don't know, I am one of the owners for DZ Comics and Gaming in Moore, Oklahoma. And, you know, it's just a gaming card shop, video games, board games, all that stuff. But anyway, people who go to our website can eventually, actually they may be able to do this now, they can edit their subscriptions online, which I'm not exactly sure how this works. I don't do any of the tech behind the scenes, but we have all the publishers have their own page and all their active titles, and eventually, like, we'll have inventory on the website too. It's still a work in progress, but man, it's gonna be pretty cool when it's all like done. But what's on here right now is pretty impressive. I'm pretty happy about it, and definitely you should give it a check out sometime.
So is it where you can set up a subscription and have it mailed to you, or is it just to make adjustments for your in-store pickup?
So I think it could do both. He hasn't briefed me on everything that it can do. So, like, let me see. Like, you can push start now. What does this do? Oh man, so I guess you could start. You can click. So, man, this is pretty cool. We're discovering this together. So you go to subscriptions. It looks like you can start a subscription here. I don't see anywhere that you can edit a subscription, but I know that he'll want to do that soon. Or perhaps when you go to checkout, you're able to say what your box is. Like I said, it's still in development. He hasn't showed me all the features with the subscription yet, but that's something that is working, that you can at least start a subscription on the website, which is pretty cool. And it's got a lot of cool interfaces, and it's definitely something that we've been pushing a lot so that we can just reach more people.
So it's a work in progress, and we'll just have to keep people updated as we go along.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's done though. It's now just fine tuning it, but yeah, it's pretty sweet.
All right, that's awesome, man. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But hey, let me tell you. The other day, I got a chance to sit down and watch the Avengers 3: Infinity Wars.
Wait, is it out?
Yeah, it's out.
When did
It's
it come
been out for some time now.
No, it hasn't. On DVD or Blu-ray?
Blu-ray, digital, all your media platforms. Came out last month.
Well, I'm usually stuck inside the cave for all eternity, so I didn't realize it had come out yet. That's cool.
So the Avengers, so it came out. I got a chance to sit down and watch the commentary. It's with the Russo brothers, who are the directors, and the writers, Christopher Markus and Steve McFeely. And I was pretty surprised to see they took the time to address some of the theories and questions people had been asking after watching the movie. So today we're going to play a game. A game that's called Confirmed or Junk. The rules are simple. I'll tell you a theory pertaining to the movie. Then you can tell me whether you agree with the theory, or you can expand on the theory, or maybe you have your own theory. If it's a question, you can just answer it.
Okay.
Then I'll let you know. And then I'll let you know if your theory or answer is confirmed or junked.
Okay, so they took a lot of the popular things and okay, that makes sense. That's pretty cool that they did that.
Yeah, it really shows that they're listening to the fans for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm prepared. I'm prepped.
You're up for the challenge?
I'm sitting down. I have my Dr. Pepper in my hand. I'm prepared.
All right. Well, just to let you know, there's 5 questions. I scored 3 out of 5, so you're going to need 4 if you want to beat me.
Okay. I'll take your word for that. Okay, let's do it.
And if you're keeping score at home, be sure to post your scores in the comments below and let us know how you ranked.
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right, so let's get started. Number 1. Between the end of Thor Ragnarok and the beginning of Avengers Infinity War, it's apparent that a battle took place off screen. So there's a battle between Thanos and, of course, Thor and the Asgardians and everyone in their ship.
Yeah.
And that's where Infinity War picks up, is at the end of this battle. So you've seen the aftermath. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people have assumed that everybody that was on the ship there with Thor, minus the ones that we've seen at the opening, were killed. Okay. So what do you believe? Do you believe everybody was killed, that Thor was the last person that made it out of there when the Guardians found him, or do you think something else is going?
When it comes to survivors, I mean, obviously after Thanos leaves, yeah, Thor is, I think, the last survivor. It makes no sense to me. So, but the question is, were most of the people, they were already dead? That's what the question is? Were they dead?
Yes.
Well, we didn't see what's his face from Thor Ragnarok. What's the Rock dude? What's his name?
Right, I don't know his name. Yeah, there's a lot we didn't.
We'll call him the Thing. We didn't see the Thing or any of those dudes anywhere in that opening scene, and there was a lot of. To me, it makes sense that they're all dead. That the battle, like, there wasn't a lot of them left anyway, and most of them were civilians. So I'm pretty sure Thanos went up in there, killed all of them, and then proceeded to wipe out the last of them, which was like Hulk, Thor, Loki, all of them. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, they're dead.
You want to change your answer?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Don't do this to me.
All right.
I'm easily swayed. Then
your theory is junk.
Oh, geez, really? Where were they at? Just in the mess hall? Having to sit down? Christ.
Well, according to the Russo brothers, some of the Asgardians, along with Valkyrie, escaped during that battle. Now, they didn't confirm whether the Thing and there was another character in there, too. If they got away. They didn't say anything about it, but we can assume if some of the Asgardians and Valkyrie got away, they probably did, too.
Okay, well, that kind of makes it so, like, when he doesn't evaporate at the end of the movie, because I was like, well, he's the last Asgardian. You can't half one. That was my theory on why he lived. Rip in peace, then, because they escaped the ship just to get cut in half anyway. Like, good on them. That sucks.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully they're going to make a return in the next one. I'd like to see more of Valkyrie myself.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
All right, well, let's get on to number 2 then.
Man, I bet that was the easiest one, too. Jeez. I haven't seen the movie since I watched it in theater, so there's probably a lot of this I'm going to fail. Go ahead, though.
Well, I don't know. You got a chance. We'll see. Okay, so number 2. After the Hulk takes a beating of a lifetime from Thanos, some people believe he's refusing to come out due to fear. Banner just can't get him out because he's just defeated, he's scared of Thanos, whatever.
Well, that makes sense, yeah.
So what's your theory to why Banner can't get the Hulk to respond?
Okay, so they made it seem as though Hulk just doesn't want to mess with him. Which, I mean, I can't believe that there's a theory. I mean, I've heard that there's a theory that it's actually Loki who's Bruce Banner or something like that. Something crazy sleight of hand that Loki's really alive in the form of just acting like he's Bruce Banner. But other than that, it seemed like there was no... Which I guess makes sense because he doesn't turn the Hulk at all in the whole show. But as for... Is Hulk scared? Well, that's my impression. It looked like he was scared, or at least didn't want to. If scared's not the right word, he didn't want to mess with Thanos. So, I would say he's hiding, or whatever you want to say. That makes sense to me. Jeez, this seems too easy of a question. I'm probably wrong.
Well, I mean, now stop and think about the story arc that is played out with the Hulk through Avengers 2, The Age of Ultron, into Thor Ragnarok, and now into Infinity War.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to help you out here. So if you think about that story arc,
so Hulk, he makes the choice to leave Earth because he actually doesn't want to hurt people. is what it comes down to. Then he gets found on the the planet of champions, whatever planet that's called, and he's somewhat intelligent now, and he's kind of independent. And he doesn't want to go back to being inside Bruce Banner. And then,
right.
And he's kind of doing his thing. He beat some gods up. He was having a good time. And then he shows up in the Avengers movie, and Loki does the we got a Hulk, like thinking he's got he's got the one up on Thanos, and then Hulk gets dicked down, and then from then on he doesn't want to come back out.
So you're going with fear.
If not fear, like he's ashamed that he got destroyed so quickly, but it's something along that line.
All right.
I don't know if fear is the correct emotion, but you understand what I'm getting at.
I just understand fear.
Okay, so you're focusing on the word fear. I don't think it's fear, no, because he also didn't come out when he was fighting Thanos' minions, so he's not afraid of the minions.
So what is it?
I'd probably say it's probably something like he's ashamed that he lost. I don't know what I'd call it, but I don't know if it's fear. Maybe if it's particularly with Thanos, maybe it's fear. But he doesn't really interact with Thanos at all except in the first part of the movie. So it's not fear. It's something else. That's my best answer.
All right. Well, okay, so here's what the Russos have to say. You have two distinct personalities. They're both wanting control over the host body.
Mm-hmm.
You got Banner, who typically uses Hulk to solve crisis situations, and Hulk, who's no longer interested in solving those problems for Banner. Now they have this relationship that's becoming increasingly dysfunctional.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just a matter that the Hulk wants to do his own thing, and he believes in fighting the Banner.
That makes sense. I can get behind that. I mean, yeah, I really didn't think about it, because that's not the impression I got when I watched the movie, but I can see that. That makes sense.
Well, maybe you just got to go watch it all again,
No, I don't.
It's been 11 years and 20 movies, so, kind of watching it all again kind of puts things in perspective.
Well, you just saying it puts it in perspective. As soon as you said it, it's like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that makes total sense.
All right, well, there's 3 questions left. That means you have to get all of them to tie with me.
Yeah, that ain't happening, boy. I'm failing them.
Well, hey, look, you got a good chance on this next one, because this next one is actually the writers and the directors are split on the answer.
Okay.
So your chances are going to increase.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. Number 3. Thanos believes that the only way to save the universe is to wipe out half of the life in the universe, to eliminate conflict for resource that would otherwise lead to death and suffering.
Yeah.
So why not choose a less murderous path and just double the resources instead of eliminating the need for them?
Yeah, that's because he has the power to do that. So that's the thing. If he's really that, if he's really a savior, then he would have just done that.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
But why didn't he?
Well, in the books, it's because he's infatuated with death. I don't think they really go into that in the movies that much.
No.
I think a lot of people just kind of know that that's his thing. And so when he comes up with this reason that makes him, it kind of feels like he's kind of like justify, like, hey, this is terrible thing I'm doing, but I'm not the worst thing in the world. Like, there could be way worse. Like, he tries to play it off. Like, I think he tries to convince himself, or at least that's the impression I got. But I think he's just lying. I don't know why he's lying, but in the books, he just tries to please death. He doesn't care. I think he also says in the books that he does it to save people, but ultimately his thing is he just wants to please death. That's all he really cares about.
To bring that, to create that relationship with death that he lost after being defeated by the Avengers. But in the movie, there's absolutely no indication that he is actually infatuated with death.
Well,
in fact,
that's not
it
true.
Humanized him more.
Well, that's not true. There's only one scene that gives you that impression that he still has something to do with death. It's the first scene you ever see him at the end of the Avengers. He's like lieutenant guy. Specifically, the way he said it, he's like, to go to Earth is to court death. He said it just like that, and then Thanos turns around and smiles. And so, I think maybe at that time, obviously that's like 10 years ago, so obviously things can change, but I think originally they were going to go that route. But I think they probably changed it because it is better in a movie to have a sympathetic villain.
I don't know.
At least that
not for me, but
I mean, I prefer people like the guy from Die Hard. What's his name? I can't believe I just forgot his name. Hans, like just a bad person, a terrible person, the classic villain. But I think they do this just to humanize him a little bit. And I think it worked for the movie, but I mean,
well, it works for this movie because it becomes this story of Thanos' hero journey, and he becomes the one that wins in the end.
Yeah.
So it does work for this, or at least the first part of this movie.
Yeah.
So what's your answer?
So the question was, I don't understand what it was more of a statement. So what's the
why did he just not choose to double resources versus eliminating everyone?
The obvious answer is that actually he still cares about death, but doesn't really say anything about it. The second answer is he's just too stupid to think about it. Like that's the thing though, but like Doctor Strange didn't say anything at the time. My voice cracked. Did you hear that? Doctor Strange did. When he went to Titan and they had that monologue, like Doctor Strange was like, "Hey, real quick, you're trying to save the world, the universe. Why don't you just double the resources?" Like, so, you know what I'm saying? Like, no one really thought about it. So I think it's the first, because there's no way he's that stupid.
All right. Well, here's the answers.
Oh boy, here
All
it
right.
is.
So, Stephen McFeely, the writer, says it's about free will. That doubling the resources doesn't solve the problem. We're just going to get there a million years from now. So this is an opportunity for people to get it right now.
No, that's not how that works.
Okay.
It's
and I agree with
stupid
that.
Because if you half the population, they'll get the resources stay the same, so there's still a lot of resources. So they'll just get there again.
Yes, because the population will continue to grow.
Yeah, that's just how population.
You'd have to keep doubling the resources.
The problem is, and there's an actual scientific term. Obviously, Thanos didn't look this up. I forget what it's called, but it explains like it's this. Oh, geez, it's hard for me to explain because I've heard of this and kind of know the basic fundamentals. But at a certain point, populations don't escalate at the same percentage anymore. It's all about it's about resources, but we don't think about it. So the reason why, I'm explaining this pretty poorly, but the idea is like my grandparents had 5 kids and their parents had tons of kids because it was expected that you're gonna lose half your kids and the population has to keep going. Well, but now we're at a stage where that's not the case anymore. And people only have like most people only have about 1 to 2, maybe 3 kids on average. They're not having 5 to 10 kids anymore. And so the population, like you have this huge escalation in population caps, but at a certain point when technology and supplies become so readily available, the need for more people becomes less, and so people don't reproduce as much. And you see that now. I know tons of people who just don't want to have kids or don't have many kids. I forget what the term is, and I shouldn't be going into this too much, but I saw this the other day, and it made me think of the Avengers. It was, I don't know. I wish I knew what the term was called.
All right, well, let's get on to the second answer.
So I lost, right?
I don't know. Let's see what the second answer is.
Okay.
So, Joe Russo says, Thanos was told no to an idea that he had when he felt was the only situation, the only solution to the situation, and then was proven right to himself when that solution was not acted upon. So due to his Messiah complex, he's now committed to following through on an idea he had many years ago. So what he's referring to is when everything first happened on Titan, and he had told them, hey, we need to kill half the people just randomly because we're, running out of resources. Hello?
Yeah, no, I'm listening. It didn't seem like you finished your statement. I get what you're saying. So really, he's just got a big ego, or a tiny dick.
Yeah, well, and I think too, there's Thanos is not sane. There's a little bit of sanity in there, even though he may come off as he's in control, but I think he's still he's rocking right there on the edge.
Well, yeah, because it's an insane proposal.
Exactly, and so when you deal with all these type of villains that are right there on the edge of insanity or beyond it, like say the Joker, it always comes down to these Messiah type complexes.
Yeah.
This was one that I missed. I didn't really agree with either one of these answers.
Yeah, because again, because we've read the books. And he even says the same thing in the Infinity Gauntlet, if I remember right. Like, he's like, I'm doing it to save the universe. But really, he's got an ulterior motive on top of that motive.
And see, I really didn't even have an answer for this. I just know I don't agree with these two. But if I'm going by the books, I'm like you. It's all about offering up those sacrifices to please death because he's wants that relationship back with her that he lost.
Yeah.
So, all right. So what are you batting now?
It's a none.
Well, okay. Well, maybe you'll get this next one. This next one should be fairly easy.
We're very optimistic.
Okay. So number 4. Why does Thanos need all 6 stones to alter reality? Why not just use the reality stone to alter reality? Wow.
That's a good question.
You have some deep thought going on there.
Well, it seems as if, at least in the movies, it seems that it's temporary. The reality stone. It changes reality, but maybe only as long as however the stone really works. I don't really know. I don't really know how the stone works in the movie. I know how a Green Lantern ring works, right? You have the willpower, you think of something, and it happens. And so in the same kind of vein, if he thinks that you should be String, then you will be String. But the second he leaves or stops thinking of that thought, it goes away. So it's like a temporary solution, the Reality Stone.
Right.
It alters reality, but only at will and only temporary. And that would explain that, because if not, then why didn't he just alter reality? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's exactly what they had said, that the reality stone just creates an illusion. Yeah. So when they go to nowhere, the illusion is that everything's fine, just nobody's there. But once the veil's pulled back, you see the reality is the place is on fire and crumbling.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So, but to
and
actually...
just with Drax, he turned into those square blocks and stuff, and then when Thanos left, he was fine.
But he didn't actually turn into those blocks. That was just his...
It became Drax's reality.
It became his reality. It was just the way he saw things were happening. It wasn't really happening.
Yeah,
that's the power of the stone. But to actually make the reality a physical change, it would take all 6 stones to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So there you go. You got 1.
Yay! That one was really easy.
Well, you got to at least get 1.
Yeah, thank God.
All right. Well, this is the last one. We'll see if you can get 2.
Okay.
And I don't know. I didn't get this one either. But let's see. Okay, number 5. One of the questions people have theorized about is where Doctor Strange hid the Time Stone. Whenever Thanos was asking for the stone, he just made it pop up out of thin air.
Oh, yeah, I vaguely remember that scene.
So one theory suggests that he hid the time stone somewhere in time, maybe in the past or with a future self. Um, Maybe it was in his pocket.
Probably the mirror realm, or whatever that place is called. What is that? What, you know what I'm talking about? When he goes into that mirror universe? I'd imagine he probably put it in there somewhere.
Like a different dimension.
Yeah. Specifically that one, because it was so prevalent in the... You just, when you think of alternate realities, it's either there or he put it with Dormammu just to torture him. Right, but that seems a little extreme. There's no hints on that, but it's obviously in some sort of pocket dimension that he's able to access at will, which would be a very safe place to put it, wouldn't it?
Well, it would make sense.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like myself, your theory's junk.
Yeah, it was just in his shoe.
No, actually, it was a little bit more poetic than that.
His left shoe.
He hid the stone in the stars.
Oh,
So
get
if you
the fuck out of here.
I'm serious, and if you actually go back and watch the scene, you'll see the stars in the sky, and when he reaches up, the time stone comes between his fingers, and he pulls his hand down, that star is gone.
What? Okay, I do not remember that at all. Give me...
I didn't even catch it.
I don't even remember.
2 times I watched the movie either. It just didn't even dawn on me. I was just like, well, he just made it appear. Who cares where he hid it?
Hold on. Hold on. No, I can't play it because then this thing will record. Oh, I see it in like a little thumbnail. Ah, man, that's super clever. I wouldn't have even saw. I didn't even notice that. Okay. Yep. Nope. Wouldn't have got it. Which one did you get? Which other ones did you get?
Well, I got the Reality Stone.
Yeah, that one's easy.
And I got the Hulk, and then the first one.
Yeah. Well, that was the first one. The Hulk one was the first one, right? What was the first one?
The first one was if there was any survivors.
Oh, okay.
After the battle, because we actually had this conversation before, and you were telling me everybody was dead.
Yep. So I was destined to lose.
And I was like, "Look, dude, if you don't see it happening on screen, they ain't dead."
It's just context clues, but I mean, you're right. It's the same with like Game of Thrones. If you don't see them die, then you don't write them off yet.
No, if you don't see their head come from their shoulders.
Well, same thing.
Because remember we left the Hound, thought he was dead, and then lo and behold, here he shows up.
Yeah, best character. Well, there you go.
So there you go.
Chris loses in a landslide. Those are tough.
Well, you got one.
Yeah. The thing is, like, if this was like Star Wars theories, I could tell you which theories people have. I listen to a lot of those.
You still wouldn't do well with Star Wars, and just because it's not following any type of canon, it's not following any old canon. It would just be your best guess.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they don't really care too much like they do with the Avengers. But there you go. All right. Well, that wraps up for this episode. I appreciate you guys watching.
Yeah, and let us know in the comments what you think. Let us know what your scores are. Did you beat Chris? Did you beat me?
Probably beat me. It's a very low bar to beat. That's like dunking on like a 4-year-old with one of those plastic basketball hoops. Like, it's easy to do, but should you do it? Yeah, you should. So do it.
Absolutely. You take a win anywhere you can get it.
Yeah, and then you just shove it in his face like, "Nah, kid, you really suck at basketball. You left your goal wide open, you scrub." And then you dunk on him again just to prove the point. Yeah. Anyway, taking off. Bye, guys.
All right, thanks for being with us. And as always, if you like this episode, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe. If you never want to miss an episode, then ring that bell. And we'll see you next time.